The Yellow Wallpaper is a short story written by Charlotte Perkins Gilman in 1892. The tale focuses on an insane woman's unhealthy relationship with an ugly yellow wallpaper and how it grows from resentment to a disturbing obsession. Over time, the book has become a prime example of powerful feminist literature and the oppression of women in the 1800s. Now you might be wondering, how can a story about an insane woman being obsessed with a wallpaper have anything to do with feminism? You might also be wondering what importance this story had during the time it was published. You might also be wondering how long it can drag out this intro in order to reach the 3-minute mark. Well, we're about to find out. To start things off, I'll be giving a summary of the story. It begins with the narrator explaining her thoughts as her husband, John, forces her to stay confined within a room and take part in rest cure. Now, rest cure, by the way, well, it's self-explanatory. Just avoid any form of activity and rest, and hopefully they'll cure you. Many believe the illness the main character has is postpartum depression, which is a form of depression that can develop after childbirth. The main character, who I will be calling Kate from now on, would much rather be active and do things to express herself instead of just lying in bed all day. So, unbeknownst to John, she writes in a journal that she smuggled in. She uses it to describe different parts of the house in different journal entries, but eventually she gets to one particularly aggravating part of her bedroom: the wallpaper. As months pass by, she grows more and more obsessed with it. At night, she starts to see a woman stuck behind the pattern of the wallpaper trying to escape. She thinks she can smell the paper from throughout the house. Her husband starts to think that she's getting better, when in reality she's getting less and less sleep, and is even arguably insane. Once Kate suspects that John is aware of her unhealthy obsession, she starts to bite and tear away at the paper. When John comes to find out what his wife did, he passes out. And the end. That's the story. Now, this story serves as a sort of metaphor for the oppression of women during the era the book was published. The most obvious example being the wallpaper itself, the paper being a symbol for the restraints placed on women due to societal standards. And as Kate grows more fixated on the paper and starts to see a woman trapped within it, that can be seen as Kate growing more aware of her own subjugation. In the story, Kate is forced to be confined within her bedroom by her husband, which can be seen as a representation of the repression of women, and it also goes to show the dismissive attitudes medical establishments had towards women with mental health issues. Throughout the 1890s, women's rights were really minimal, and if any women did not behave appropriately according to societal standards, they were placed in mental institutions. And chances were, most of the people admitted into these institutions were not even mentally ill to begin with. The Yellow Wallpaper helps lend readers more understanding of the lack of compassion there was back then towards women, and in turn it calls attention to how important it is to try to lend help and empathy to those struggling with mental issues. This story is one of the earliest examples of feminist literature and was met with mixed reception when it was first released. Some praised it for its realistic portrayal of, well, going insane, and how it critiqued the negligence medical professionals had towards women. Others, however, did not like how the story painted a realistic portrayal of going insane and how it critiqued the negligence medical professionals had towards women. I assume most of the people that had a problem with this story were most likely the medical professionals that were negligent towards women. However, this opened the eyes of many who did not even realize there was a problem in the first place. Over time, The Yellow Wallpaper has become a classic for its powerful statement on the need for women's agency and autonomy, and remains relevant to this day. Here are the sources. Thank you for watching.